Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today we're going to do a Dutch pour. I've already poured down the paint and I've let it sit for a little bit and tilted it a bit. So now we are going to use my best friend Fred. Oh, I love this hairdryer. It's so much fun. So we've got a nice white circle of paint that's going around it. So first, blow the colors, white over the colors. Upwards. There we go. Now that we have the paint blown everywhere, often what I like to do when there's a little extra going on, so you can actually tilt this, and although it's starting as a Dutch pour, you can kind of bend those colors to do something else if you like. So we tilt it. So you guys can see kind of what's happening here. So for some people, they like a lot of white. Other people don't like too much white at all. It's all about preference. So this specific piece, I think I'm probably going to add maybe some gold to it. Possibly some glitter, because I love doing that. I think that is super fun. So you just kind of want to tilt it a little bit till you're super happy with that design. Often I will, where the paint is, you just kind of move it on the side of the canvas so it's kind of spilling off of it. And you can always cheat a little bit and kind of help the design along. And sometimes I'll kind of just play with the piece till I'm super happy with it. There, that's looking pretty interesting. So we already got some cells happening right at the top there. So with this one, the magenta kind of really took over. So it's got a nice magenta feel to it. Sometimes I like to leave these little spaces on the corners where I kind of just connect the paint. And another fun thing I like to do, so we've got all this paint underneath that's dripped. So you're never going to recreate that color that's previously there, but you can take some leftover paint and kind of create something a little bit different. So at the top here, I think I'm going to steal some paint and kind of just add something a little different here. There's no wrong way to do a pour. At least that's what I think. It's, are you happy with it? Are you happy with how that piece turned out? Then up here. Kind of create something. So it's got kind of a water ocean vibe, but also maybe a flower too. I don't know. Just kind of go with the flow a bit. And for this part, I think I'm just gonna fill it in just a little bit here. So some artists, they like the paint flowing over the side. Some like a lot of negatives. So I'm actually just going to change this and do this. So it's really nice to find different ways to use up that leftover paint. There's all sorts of ways of dipping the canvas in it. And always fun to try new stuff like that. So for a lot of my paintings, I put resin afterwards. Sometimes I will put a layer of glitter actually between this when it's dry and then the resin over top. Other times I put it right into the resin. I find when the glitter's in the resin, it gives it more of a 3D look to it. But it's all about having fun and trying new stuff. So if I zoom in here, what we're going to see, some of that gold is kind of popping out. Got cells happening. So in this mixture with the paint, obviously there's water, the paint, and in this one I've been using some Liquitex pouring medium. So in the description box I will go over all the materials used in this piece. So I think this one is going to look super awesome. So now, one other important thing is bubbles are going to happen. So you don't want bubbles that can dry that way because they're going to be very noticeable. And another handy thing to have is a heat gun, or you can get a mini torch. I love my heat gun because when I work with wood projects where I'm stripping, it's very handy as well. Oh, here she is. Oh, I love this thing so much. It's so great. So they're usually not very costly, and they have a lot of awesome purposes. So what you're going to do is obviously turn it on and be careful. These things get very hot. So you just kind of go over the piece. So you're just going to lightly look for these air bubbles. The heat from the heat gun is going to start popping them. And you just lightly go over the piece. When you're looking for lacing, I found what works for me is just kind of going in one spot, but not too much. Because you wouldn't want to hurt the piece, obviously. So another trick that I do is you get down level with the piece. And often if there's big air bubbles, you're going to be able to see where you need to go over a little bit more. I'm just going to kind of go up and down this middle section. That's kind of the technique, is the shapes that you want. I did one piece where I did a heart shape over and over and over and over again. And then there actually turned out a heart in that piece. Just over it. Now I usually do it in little kind of bursts over the canvas. And look at those cells. Those cells are really happening. Oh wow, this is looking awesome. I'm really happy with it. There are some artists that choose to just varnish their pours. But for me personally, once I tried it with resin, for bigger pieces, I will varnish. But I really like using art resin. It's an amazing product. But there's all different types of resin out there. But yeah, I think it's super fun. It makes the colors pop a bit more. I do different techniques with color shifting, whether I use the paint or kind of create it myself. But for me, seeing that color pop and the vibrancy of the piece, that's what makes it super amazing to me. I usually use fairly bright colors in mine. Sometimes I use gold, silver, metal leaf, sometimes even rose gold. Done a lot of glitter in my pieces. And it can be a whole lot of fun trying new things. So I'll quickly show you one of my pieces with glitter embedded. And you can see that glitter really pops. Almost looks like diamonds in it. So resin is really amazing because if dust or something gets on it, you can just take a cloth and just wipe it off. You don't have to worry about the piece being ruined or anything awful like that. And I wouldn't recommend it, but I have dropped one of these painting many months ago, face down onto the floor. And I was kind of terrified, but it turned out fine. You couldn't even tell that there was a scratch on it. Luckily, it was one I was keeping for myself, but yeah. So that's kind of the difference when something has resin and glitter embedded versus a pour that was just done. Again, we'll just do a little more zoom up in it. This is really exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this looks like when it's dried. Because with pouring, you're kind of magically weaving colors and hoping for the very best outcome. But it's always an adventure. So later on, I'm going to be doing a video on how I apply the resin and the glitter. So give this video a like. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys soon.